Hi, and welcome to the Point 254 podcast. My name is Naomi Mutua, and I'm here with my guests Rukia Mwinyi and Esther Kihanga, both from the Public Diplomacy section of the U.S. Embassy. Karibuni.
Asante.
Yeah. So we can start with you, Rukia. You can maybe tell us what you do at the embassy and what your day-to-day work entails.
Kwa majina naitwa Rukia Mwinyi, niko kitengo cha umma hapa ubalozi wa Amerika, Nairobi. Mimi ni kiongozi wa wenzangu wanne ambao wanashughulikia program zetu hapa upande wa alumni coordination, masomo ya Kiingereza ambao ni English language programs, experiential learning na education USA. Kabla ya kuwa na cheo hichi nilikuwa ni outreach coordinator, nashughulikia mambo ya English language programs hapa ubalozi, pamoja na peace building and CVE programs.
Okay, karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Esther?
My name is Esther Kihanga, and I work with a fantastic team here at American Spaces Kenya. So we're part of a global network of American Spaces, more than 600 spaces across the world in 40 countries. So our job is actually really simple. We invite Kenyans in to come and connect with American people, culture, and values.
Okay. Yeah. So when you say invite people in at the embassy, what exactly does that mean? Like, so the American spaces are across the country.
Yes.
Where are they located and how can one utilize them?
Okay, so American Spaces are actually physical spaces. They're located, we're actually seated right here in one of the spaces. We call it an American Center because it's inside the embassy. We've got a space in downtown Nairobi at Moi University. That's Bazaar Plaza on 5th floor. So we call that American Corner Moi. We've got presence in Nakuru as well, inside the Kenya National Library building. That's American Corner Nakuru. We've got presence in Lamu, in the National Museum, and in Mombasa within the Muslim Education and Welfare Association building. So that's the American Corner Mombasa. Very soon we'll be opening a new one in Kilimani area, Upper Hill. And so we're calling that American Corner Mtaani because it's going to be a hub and spoke model. Basically, we have this space, but then we'll take the show on the road. So because we're not exactly everywhere in the country, we'd love to be, so we're taking the show on the road, putting all this fantastic resource that people come for and taking it to their streets.
So that will be a mobile space.
That'll be a mobile space.
We're looking forward to seeing what that is. So when it comes to accessing the spaces, how can I, as a member of the public, access? And what are the exact facilities I might be able to find in what is the most common thing I can find in all these spaces?
Yeah.
I can see here you have a library. So is a library inclusive in all the spaces?
Right. So actually American Spaces in Kenya first took the shape of a library, right? So a lot of Kenyans came in for the books, the magazines, the resources that were directly from the States. And now it's expanded to include tech and other considerations. So one of our biggest draw is free internet. So in any and all of our spaces, we've got free internet. So you come in, plug and play your gadgets and connect. And now we have an online library. So eLibraryUSA gives you access to real-time publications. So if you wanted to read USA Today, if you wanted to read Newsweek or whatever other publication, you can access it at any of our spaces at no cost. The other thing that we really enjoy extending to our publics is the fact that you can come in, walk in here and come in with an idea and meet amazing people who are also trying to figure things out themselves. So create a network, establish relationships, but even tinker with the toys that we have. Okay. So you'll find 3D printers, you'll find robotic kits, you'll find a sewing machine, you'll find a gaming console. And so you can literally just explore this, try out something new. And if you don't know where to start, we've got resources that help you at the very basic point of need.
Okay. Fantastic. So it sounds like everything here is set up for not just networking, but for people to think creatively,
Yeah.
to innovate, to develop concepts and things like that.
Absolutely.
And they'll be able to find resources to guide them through that.
Right, and the fact that we extend human resources as well,
Yeah.
so that you can have direct and unfettered conversations with Americans who are experts in different areas, and you can come share your expertise with fellow Kenyans. So that meaningful exchange is what gets us excited as American Spaces.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to trying out the 3D printers.
As
I have
everyone
an
should.
idea in mind. So we'll see what happens maybe in a year. Rukia, in public diplomacy, you mentioned that there's an alumni program. What is that alumni program?
Alumni program basically is coordinating our exchange programs, people who have visited the US for some of our exchange programs. So we have a coordinator here who runs and manages these exchanges, interact with them, maybe work with them when it comes to projects, programs, grants, bringing them together to share their experiences with their US experience with fellow Kenyans here in Kenya. And we have, I think, a database of almost 10,000 US government alumni here in Kenya, those who have participated in this program.
So in terms of the alumni programs, how is it that Kenyans are selected to participate?
We have programs whereby if you go to our website, you might get a glimpse of the kind of exchange programs that we have and how Kenyans can apply. We also have programs that are post-nominated, whereby we have different sections here at the embassy. They nominate specific individuals depending on what they do and take them to the US for specific programs. For example, the International Visitors Leadership Program, basically a 3-week professional exchange program in the US.
All right.
Yeah.
And what about the English program?
We have quite a number of English language programs here in Kenya. The most proud, which I'll say the most strategic English language program that we are always proud of is the English Access Micro Scholarship Program, which is the 2-year after-school English language program for high school students. Currently, we have about 100 students in Mombasa under that program. But over the years, we've had about almost 1,000 students who have participated in the span of almost over 10 years ago in different counties, spanning from Mombasa, Kilifi, Kwale, here in Nairobi, Busia, and Kisumu, and Machakos.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's quite wide within the country, and like you've said, you're engaging with a lot of youth, ex-high school students.
It's not ex-high school.
Yeah?
Basically, it's high school
students.
At the age gap is usually big. It's supposed to be between 13 and 20.
Okay. Yeah.
But majority of our students that we select is about 15 to 16 years old. And they go for an after-school English language training that will include community service, learn about US culture, a bit of technology, and enhancement activities. And in each year, they do a summer intensive session where we bring all the students together for a summer camp to do more of team building as well as practice their English language and learn about American culture.
All right, that's fantastic. Yeah. It sounds very interesting. And
so that's one of them, but we also have other programs. We have the Fulbright English Teaching Assistant, whereby we place newly graduates English language teachers. They're not necessarily teachers, but they are graduates from the US and they come into to Kenya to assist in teaching English. So we place them in different counties here in Kenya. Currently, we have 4. There are 3 in Mombasa and 1 in Nakuru. And they all support English language learning in their respective schools, as well as support English Access Micro Scholarship Program. And for what Esther has talked about, the American Spaces, they also support English language learning at American Corners.
That means there's an exchange happening between Kenya and the US, and the skills and knowledge transfer.
Yes. And we also have the English Language Fellow Program. These ones are master's degree graduates who are placed basically at universities. We've had about almost 5 in the past 5 years here in Kenya. Currently, we have one at Pwani University. Apart from teaching at Pwani University, she also supports English language programs at the corners, as well as support the professional English language network here in Kenya. So she does a lot of workshop on English language teaching and other areas of interest. Like a few weeks ago, was it 2 weeks ago, she was doing grants training here at the American Center, Nairobi.
All right, thank you.
And apart from that, we also have online English language training. The teachers of English and professional can join in and do an 8-week program with the university in the US, and then they receive a certificate. This could be on critical thinking, it could be teaching English to young learners, or it could be a special MOOC that maybe specialize on media literacy or entrepreneurship.
All right. That sounds, you know, when you think about language learning, you don't think of how intensive it can be, but it's clear that you have a fully developed program that is very intensive and very developed for various age levels. So Esther, coming back to public diplomacy, when it comes to your everyday work, how do you think this contributes to public diplomacy between Americans and Kenyans?
So everything about what we do actually starts from our goals as a mission. And so we have taken the time to understand those goals, to collaborate with colleagues like Rukia to say, hey, how can we work together to make sure that American spaces are a resource to the mission to facilitate that connection between Americans and Kenyans. So as American spaces on a day-to-day basis, you will see American elements. If it's not in the toolkits that we use in developing programs or actually engaging the public, it will be in the speaker that you interact with, or it will be in the resources that we expose our audience to. So that connection is really, really important. Secondly, I think one of the other elements that help us really fulfill that public diplomacy connection is to constantly see how we can move our audiences by connecting them with skills that they can use to empower themselves to be meaningfully engaged, and therefore they will contribute to the Kenyan economy. So one of the goals that we have is to continually be a friend to Kenya to support in the economic growth of the country. So the more people actually interact with tech, they start to see opportunities. They start to see, hey, I could make something out of this, and I could start something that improves the lives of my community. I'll give you an example. One of the programs that we did at the very first level of interaction in STEM about 2-3 years ago was during COVID. So we rolled out a program on 3D printing, and Kenyans in different parts of the country connected. And now they started to think, okay, so we can actually make something from nothing. An idea comes and we query it until the point of production. But then it was exciting for us to realize that there was a hospital in a part of this country that was struggling to repair elements of a microscope that kept breaking down, and to see how this 3D printing could create that element that could bring back this microscope to life. So how we are integrating our understanding and our interaction with technology, with programming, and responding to everyday community challenges, I think is really important and really contributes to the larger conversation with PD goals, or public diplomacy goals. And then I think continually you get to see other conversations emerge. Democracy and governance is a big conversation among our youth. How can we continually equip young upcoming leaders with the right mindset around leadership so that it's not self-seeking or self-serving? How can we continue to expose people to education in the States so that they can continually amplify their understanding and their thinking and come back and pass that on to others. So we enjoy working with the rest of our colleagues to offer our spaces as that meeting point, that melting point of these ideas and bringing them to life.
Oh, that's fantastic. I think, when people engage with an embassy, most of the time it's from a consular position, but they don't get to see what happens mostly in the background.
Yeah.
There's so many other programs that are happening that are important to each country, both the country with a mission here and the host country.
Right.
So a lot of people may not always see what is happening in the background. And it's great to at least demystify some of that and to understand part of what is happening. And from this perspective, from a public diplomacy perspective. Rukia, do you have anything to add on to that in terms of public diplomacy?
Yeah, it's very true. Engaging our audience and whatever Esther has said, interacting, an opportunity for them to use the spaces, to use our speakers. In fact, speaking of speakers, our alumni database makes a diverse group of speakers in different fields. And sometimes you might get somebody who is interested in maybe issues related to technology. It could be on human rights. It could be women empowerment. It could be entrepreneurship. And you could pull into this database and get people to speak about the different professionals that they have and support their programs. And I've seen, as you put it, most of the time, and most of us Kenyans, we think of the embassy as a from a consular point of view. We are coming here to receive visas, but it's more than that. There are so many programs that targets our audience out there, whether you're a young woman or you're an old person, you're a professional, you're an artist, you're a musician. It really doesn't matter. We target all these audiences and we are able to interact with them. If I take it from my perspective, when I started so many years ago, people felt, it's like there is a wall. You can't reach out to this kind of, how do I put it?
To the mission.
To the mission. But we have demystified that you are able to interact. And through programs that we do, the projects we do, we've seen that there is a lot of interest in what we do and people do come in. Sometimes, as Esther puts it, the ideas come from them. And then we just here to sort of implement and grow it, make it bigger. So opportunities are there to interact.
Yeah,
Thank
if
you.
I could add to that, I think when you think about American spaces and how strategically placed they are, you've got presence in the coast, in the city, in different parts of the country. And the fact that we have all these alumni coming back and they're eager to share about their experiences, what they've learned interacting with their colleagues or counterparts in the States, you really do realize that Kenyans are curious.
Yes.
They're curious about what's it like to study in the States, what's it like to travel from one city to another. So besides even just the diplomacy, it's just facilitating a friendship, a connection, right? And then you start to think about shared values that we have. So, and what can we learn from one another? What can Kenyans learn from Americans and vice versa? Because I do believe we also have something worth sharing with the rest of the world. So the exciting thing about working on these portfolios, I believe for my colleague Rukia and I as well, is that we get to midwife that experience. We get to facilitate that connection. And I think it's such a joy really to be able to see someone who came in maybe as an access student and grow their capacity for, just the English language they're speaking, their writing, their confidence. And then slowly they graduate in the ladder of engagement, as they would say, and now they become a speaker, they become a resource. And next thing you know, they are this doctor who now engages at a different level, going on another exchange program. And now you see who they become.
Yes.
because you've constantly extended resources and the time and we have willfully engaged them and they come back and say amazing things about just the opportunities that are extended to them.
I mean, I can personally attribute to that as a beneficiary of an alumni exchange program, from the opportunities presented to go on a project and program, learning for 3 weeks in the US, getting to see different areas of the US, meeting with all these brilliant minds and people in a professional capacity, getting to learn a lot about the culture, experiencing snow for the first time. It was very cold.
I can imagine.
But just building from that, it's been about 5 years building from that, and now we are here doing this podcast. I can see definitely that there's a growth to it if you engage with the embassy and the various missions and programs. There's a path for you that you can utilize to grow, create opportunities for yourself, and like we're saying, for your community.
Yeah.
So it's not just an individual beneficiary capacity. Right. You can definitely use these opportunities to grow your community and to better other people's circumstances and lives, and also bring more opportunities to them. So I can say definitely it works.
Yeah, and expands your world.
It works,
right?
True,
completely.
very right.
Yeah.
And you can imagine for you visited the US, but even for the access students, the program is here in Kenya. It's only that we support it.
Yeah.
But by the time they complete the 2 years of training, when we interview them at first, they are shy, timid, they can't talk. But then after 2 years, you can imagine they are out there. They are good orators. They can present, whether it's a spoken word, whether it's public speaking, whether it's poems they want to recite, whether it's a song. They're out there and they are vibrant. They're happy. They're eager to do community service. And when you see them joining in universities and graduating, that's even gives it more, it builds up into the program because we even call them back to come and mentor their fellows. So it's a very good program. I agree.
And it's easy to kind of get stuck at the point where you think, oh, if you go to the States, that's, the height of the experience. I've personally seen people who've walked into American spaces clueless about who they're going to become, or just not sure about what their purpose is or what career to follow. And they started picking up books and reading one after another. They started engaging with programs that we set up, engaging with the speakers, engaging with their colleagues and peers. And now one of them is a multi-award winning environmentalist. I mean, speaking on global stages and completely, it's a whole 180 when you see her now. And she attributes all of this to actually having an opportunity to access these resources, to access these people. So at whatever level one chooses to engage with us, I think what I think is the defining element is how much hungry you are, like how hungry you are for that,
For the opportunities.
for the thing that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And just keep looking and keep engaging and continually invest in yourself, because that's what we encourage people to do, to invest in themselves. And so on the other side, when they come out, they're like this amazing beacon that their community really treasures, and they go back there and pass it on to others.
All right. Thank you.
And actually, even the kind of exchanges that for you guys who have gone to the US, I've seen even the collaboration with your counterparts in the US. There are some people who have connected with whether universities or individuals or organizations, and they still communicate, and they've built programs based on a simple exchange of just 3 weeks, 6 weeks, maybe 3 months. But when they come down, they do a lot. And also seen, like, for example, for our Fulbright English teaching assistants, for whatever projects that they've put in their respective schools. For example, I'll tell you in Mrima, they've started a library. Mrima and Shikadabu, they started a library. And I know they've done, I think, something to do with menstrual pads to support girls who are not able to go to school when they're in their menses. So when they come in, that exchange It's the US government that has facilitated that exchange, but the benefits, it's us in Kenya that benefits a lot, whether in terms of projects, programs, or even networking and learning and the experience that we get.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I think that wraps up today's discussion. Definitely very eye-opening on understanding what public diplomacy at the US mission is and the different facets of it. I think I would encourage Kenyans to at least go online, check out what resources are available on the US Embassy website, visit any of the American spaces. We've said they're in Nairobi, they're in Lamu, they're in Nakuru, and Mombasa. So look out, visit any of them, just walk in and see what they do. Look at the opportunities available for you to engage in and what you can utilize the resources for. So thank you very much, Rukia. Thank you very much, Esther.
Thank you
It's been
for
a
having
pleasure hosting you.
Asante sana.
Likewise. Yeah. Thank you.
Asante sana.
Karibu. That's it for today. Thank you, everybody.